Welcome back to the Dunoon Presents Argyll Rally, the midway point of the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. I'm Paul Woodford. Good to have you back with us this afternoon. Our last live show of the day, and will it be the day that we see Sam Touzell and Max Freeman taking their first overall win? They are certainly going the right way about that. You're about to see Car 3 burst into view in that PB Engineering bright pink Fiesta Rally 2. If Sam Touzell wanted to stand out this season, he went the right way about that with the car livery, and if he wanted his results to stand out, he's doing just that today. 36 seconds, the lead now out in front. Rory Young, Jamie Edwards in the Skoda Fabia Rally 2 RS just behind. Have got the pace to just about keep things level, but they haven't got enough to claw anything back. In fact, they lost 6 seconds since we were last live with you in the first run through this stage. This is now the Kilfinnan stage, changing names for this afternoon, the same stage essentially, and we will be live with you for the whole entry through here like we were earlier. So let us know where you're watching from. Remember, if you get involved on the live stream, you get in the draw to win one of these Money Can't Buy Rallying is Life RAC Rally themed hats. Is the answer still no, Wayne? Can I have one? Still no. So you guys can have one by getting involved on the live stream. So Jason Pritchard, the second of our championship crews, in third place overall at the moment with Phil Clark alongside. 23 seconds back from Rory Young, just under a minute off the lead at the moment. I can hear Sam Touzell about to burst into view. We're just across the road from where we were earlier. We should get a good view of the action from here. Phil Bramwell, our second camera, a little way further into the stage. So we've got a lovely couple of camera shots for you. Sam's just nipping the brakes there on that compression and the car going light and just catching the tyre, a bit of tyre smoke on the inside. Very dramatic on the way to what he hopes will be his first overall win outside Jersey. Remember, he won the Jersey Rally in 2024, box ticked. But he wants a win outside of Jersey, and he wants it to be in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. And not only a championship win, he is on course for an overall victory. Hugh Hunter, Rob Fagg retired in this stage earlier in stage 8. I've spoken to Rob. They're just a bit dejected after their performance last night to be second overall and to put the car off the road. Quite a bit of damage to the Lewis and Hunter Rally 2 Fiesta as well. Gutted for them. They're heading back. Hugh is on a plane tomorrow morning early, and they're both okay. And we'll come back and fight another day. Rory Young, Jamie Edwards sideways through this sweeping left-hander down the hill. There was no nipping the brakes down there for them, was there? Less cautious than a man out front, but then that comes with the territory if you're chasing down the rally lead. Three more stages to go after this one. This is 7.38 miles. The longest of the rally. Millhouse up next, 3.95 miles. And then they've got Glendaruel and Whistlefield to finish off before the finish back in Dunoon at just after 5:30 this afternoon. If you are local, you're in the vicinity and you plan on checking out the finish, it's at the Dunoon Stadium, and it is bound to be a spectacle, particularly if things stay as they are. I think you will see a very big celebration. That was a big cut. Mark McCulloch, Michael Hendry, became 10th overall on last year's Argyll Rally. Currently sitting 5th overall and took a massive cut coming down the hill there. Saw the Proton Satra Evo just dip down in the corner, and Lewis Hooper isn't there to drag them out of the field if they head into the bank. He's just a little way over on to our right this time. The BCRDA Fiesta R2 driver, he dragged out the Knights in their Suzuki Swift earlier, along with his dad Gareth. It should be the man who comes here leading the Protyre Championship, Jason Pritchard, Phil Clark alongside in the North Road garage. It isn't. That was good, wasn't it? Hugh Brunton, Richard Wardle. That's what you get when the cars all sound pretty much the same in the Polo R5. coming into this stage. 4th overall, 10 seconds back from Pritchard and Clark, who've obviously dropped back on the road. The car's running a little bit out of order, to be honest, because Mark McCulloch and Michael Hendry were a couple of cars further up than we would have expected them to be. I have some more memories of Di Roberts, thanks to you guys sending them in, which I will share with you in a little while during this show. Thank you to everyone who sent things in. I had literally pages of memories and stories, and I picked some of the best ones to, not the best ones, I picked some that resonated with me to share with you this weekend. Here we go. Again, the Toyota driver nipping the brakes just where Sam Toozle did on that compression. It just picks up the inside wheel, just locks up ever so slightly and gives a nice little bit of theatre to the shots, doesn't it? But no more than that. Jason was, in his own words, cautious last night. That was the plan as well. Comes here leading the championship. He's already a 3-time Asphalt champion. He's trying to throw that lead away by doing anything silly while he's still getting used to the car. But they've been on a journey this weekend with that Yaris. They have managed to do some setup changes overnight, and that probably contributed to the cautious start yesterday. Jason reporting this morning on his social media that they've made some changes, fingers crossed they would work, and you know what, he was straight onto the pace. Stage wins, the full caboodle, so he's in it now and in a chasing position. I was discussing this with producer Wayne before we went live. Is he now managing things with 23 seconds to Rory Young, effectively second in the championship position at this stage with a minute to the rally leaders? Possibly so. And there's a man who's doing a very good job coming into this in 6th place overall. Brad Cole, Jamie Vaughan didn't want to see any times, didn't want to know any positions. We were very respectful of that at the stage end, albeit only after 2 very short stages last night through Dunoon Town Centre. But Brad Cole will be pretty pleased with his progress in that Rally 2 Fiesta. It hasn't taken him much time at all. Was it Hills Ford last year when we first saw the car, wasn't it? And especially with what happened last time out and where his mind and where most of the crew's minds must be this weekend. A brilliant job in that Trick Motorsport Fiesta this weekend from Brad and Jamie. The Dunoon Sound Centre stage last night, by the way, was absolutely brilliant. It's a great place to come rallying. We've said that before, but the crowds in the town, normally, by the time you get down to the lower cars in the entry, they've dissipated a little. Not so last night. Still busy as the last car came through. Hugh James, Lewis Sim, just behind Brad Cole, Jamie Vaughan, just over half a minute behind in 7th overall, the fastest of our championship 2-wheel drive crews at the moment. Don't need to push at all. They are leading the class by some margin, but they are visibly pushing, aren't they? I don't think Hugh knows any other way. I mentioned earlier he's picked up the baton from Darren Atkinson in this championship. Darren taking a bit of a sabbatical after ruling the roost in the 2-wheel drive stakes over the last few years. And yeah, Hugh is some man in that Mark II, isn't he? Splitting the WRC machinery week in, week out with Lewis alongside. Was pretty chuffed with his performance overnight as well. But 7th overall at the moment, which puts him 5th. No, yes, 5th in the championship cruise. Joe McCann, Charlotte McDowell come into this stage in 8th overall and leading their class as well, Class 2. Not registered for championship points this season, but good to see them out and having a bit of a battle with their former challengers in the Protyre Championship. John Stone, Keir Beaton, I mentioned earlier, I wasn't sure what the issues had been with the car actually, but there were quite a few overnight. It was obvious actually from the times this morning, John dropping off the pace towards the end of the night. His overnight position reflecting that. One of the bonnet pins failed on the car, and then on a heavy landing, they broke some steering components, so the car wasn't handling as John would have liked. couldn't put a big push in as a result. He's a little bit disappointed with how things had gone. That man is absolutely flying, isn't he? Will Rowlands, Emir Hall coming into this stage. Second of our two-wheel drive crews, not registered for championship points. Another crew joined us last year in championship, this year just doing one-off outings. And he's certainly made this one count. Emir Hall alongside. "11 seconds behind John Stone and Pierre Beaton coming into this 13th stage. If you want to follow the live results yourself, you can at rallies.info. I'll get some of your comments on the live stream wherever you're watching at specialstage.tv, on YouTube or Facebook. We'll have a look in a bit, and I will read out some of your memories of Di Roberts as well in a short while. No John Stone at the moment. But there's Robert Adamson and Harry Stubbs, 13th overall coming into this. Inside the top 10 in the heavily contested Class 1 here at the Argyll Rally. 3 seconds behind Roger Henderson and Tommy Henderson, who were on an identical time overall to the Impreza of Richard Clues and Carl Williamson. After 12 stages, 16 stages in total then this weekend, 66 or so stage miles, 43 of those today on 9 stages. Some really tricky lanes out here, but perfect conditions. A little cooler than yesterday, making it a little more pleasant inside the car. There were a lot of hot cars having waited in the queue for quite some time to start the stage into noon last night. There is Roger Henderson. Tommy Henderson alongside. I saw the in-car from the Jim Clark on day one where they hit a deer. Absolutely flat chat. Roger didn't back off at all. He just jumped out of nowhere, and the deer hit the car square on at the front. Destroyed the cooling pack on the M Sport Fiesta, and a whole lot more besides. PB Engineering, I mentioned earlier, got the car back out. Alexandria told me she had to go and get the extra bits, but they were taking bits off some of the other cars that had retired from the event in order to get the cars, or the cars that weren't even running in the event, to get the car back out. But they managed to get it back out for day 2, and you wouldn't have known, and you certainly wouldn't know now looking at it. The bumper is the same one that hit the deer at God knows what speed. It must have been getting on for 90 odd miles an hour. And shows what you can do with a good team behind you. Richard Clues, Carl Williamson will be pretty pleased with their progress in that Subaru that Mark Higgins drove when we first saw it, of course. That was here, actually, wasn't it, Wayne? We'll see Mark here in that Subaru. I think we did. Just outside the top 10 coming into this 12th stage of the day. Let's flick to the stage times. Hello, by the way, to PB Engineering, who will no doubt be watching in service, as they always do. The team all gathered around the iPad yesterday with the kids and the dogs as well. Love that. Thank you to Alexandria for sending that. If my results would load, I would give you a rundown of the stage times through this. There we go. So I tell you what, Jason Pritchard, Phil Clark are on a charge through here. A 6:28 from them, 4 seconds faster than our rally leader Sam Toozle with a 6:32. Darryl Taylor, Cat Lund in the Fiesta Rally 2. A man who has the biggest collection of Ford Focus World Rally cars, would you believe? I sat at having breakfast with him in a Rally Barbados a couple of weeks ago, and he was running me through some of the cars in his collection. It is staggering. He's a bigger rally nerd than I am, and his bank account allows it. But he's got Paul Bird's old Focus WRC, and we will see that back out in action very soon, which is great news. It was an ex-Hervenen car, isn't it? We were hoping to see it at Abingdon, but had a problem with the actuator on the gear shifter, so we didn't see that. It was back out in the Fiesta. They're running really far down. I'm not sure what's gone on there. There's no story that I'm aware of. John Stone in the Legend performance car. Meanwhile, there's a conversation ongoing between the special stage team on our group chat about the flies here. The wildlife here in Dunoon is wicked, honestly. Being bitten to death. Even the locals are getting bitten, and usually that's a bad sign. They're normally used to it. So 6:32 from Sam Touzle then, putting him second fastest through this stage. 6:34 for Rory Young in that chasing position. The third fastest through here. Losing a further 2 seconds to our rally leaders. But fastest through this 13th stage, Jason Pritchard and Phil Clark. So Wayne Goldring wins that debate. Jason's still trying. I thought he was perhaps managing things with a 23-second deficit. But no. As is customary, our 3-time Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally champion is gunning for it. As is this man, actually. Nathan Evans has been well and truly on it this weekend so far. Came into this split between the two escorts of Ross Jarrett and Mick Harbour. I don't know why we insist on putting people's Sunday names on the entry list. It's Mick, not Michael. Co-driver obviously did the entry on this one. 11th overall. Or was he? No, it wasn't. Was he? 17th overall was Mick Harbour. So Nathan just ahead in 16th, but leading class 6 and 7, which has been amalgamated here. And there is Mick in the Fiesta R5. Still seems strange seeing him in an R5, but seems to be getting to grips with it fairly well. Okay, I mentioned the WRC Focus, so thank you to Paul Sanford. Robbie Sanford, the Motorsport UK Academy co-driver, who seems to spend more time in the WRC than anybody else at the minute. He's sitting with Darryl Taylor in that World Rally Car Focus on the Eiffel Rally next to Germany, one of the demo events that seems to be growing in popularity in Europe. A bit like the historic Rally Festival here. That one's at Bilth Wells later in the year. Check it out on social media. Lots of details on how you can get tickets and be there. It will be fantastic. In a compact location. Did I just feel rain then? Did anyone else feel rain? Yeah, we felt rain. This is going to be an interesting stage if it suddenly starts to rain. Not something we really want to see with the on-slick tyres. Ross Jarrett, that car ever so soft compared to the cars we've seen through so far. I can't share Phil's description of the horseflies, I'm afraid. It's not repeatable, but he's struggling with the horseflies. I'm just struggling with the midges right here. So great to hear that Darryl will be out there for rally showing that WRC Focus off. We need it to be shown off over here, though. If you could put a word in, Paul, that would be good. Adding to his collection recently, Darryl's actually bought one of the ProDrive E30 BMW M3s, one of the works cars. That's pretty exciting, isn't it? And he was having a good look round the one that you'll see here, John Marshall's car, which is some piece of machinery. We'll see it a little bit later. Back to the times for now, though. He says. David White pushing a lot harder than he was the first time through here earlier. That was good. Yeah, so still nobody's knocked Jason Pritchard off that #1 spot through this stage, and I'm not sure we'll see that happen now either. Mark McCulloch, Michael Hendry, who were really pushing through here, taking a big cut. And a bit of a risky one as well, coming into this downhill section on the free right at the top of the hill there, where we saw the Swift go off earlier in the day. They're 5th fastest through here with a 6:27 fastest time. So it wasn't a 6:43. So 11 seconds slower than our... No, 15 seconds slower than our fastest time which was Jason Pritchard. So in terms of the overall leaderboard, Sam Touzle leading now by 38 seconds. That's some lead, isn't it? I'm going to bring you a couple of thoughts on Di Roberts, as I promised to do. Christian Lewis, who shared that poem with us yesterday, which I read out to you at the beginning of the live show yesterday from Dunoon Town Centre, said this: he moved into our village and contributed, this is Di Roberts, in any way that he could. When his son Jack played in the football team, every time he had the ball, Di would literally be jumping up and down on the spot, shouting, "Go on, Jack," with a big beaming smile. He'll be sorely missed by everybody here in Pontyberem in Wales. Mark of a man is not just how he performs in a rally car, but there's a whole lot more to it than that. Baz Wheeler, Richard Wise, who will be bringing all the wine gums to the stage ends in that glorious looking Escort Mark II set. Very soft, wasn't it? I think it just sanded off the paint off the bottom of the wide arches, coming down on that compression there. Ian Davis said about Di Roberts, "I remember co-driving for Di on Eppington, his 205. I love this story. Sat there on the start line of stage 3. I'm counting down. He turns around and says, 'Don't worry about this stage, boy. I'll have a go at doing both.' He did a full stage in Welsh notes, and to this day I've still got no clue what he was saying." It's an awesome story. And another one, the same day on Epping, I called a chicane, but he wasn't slowing down for it. Then he actually changed up into 4th, and then decided, nah, we'll try it in 5th. I closed my eyes and I asked him, "Are we through it? Can I open my eyes now?" That was some day, and I'll always remember it, and I'll always remember him. I love that story of Di turning round. He may have not known he was a driver as well, but he turned around and said, "No, I'm doing my own pace notes on this one, don't you worry about it." Brett McKenzie, Barry Young, local driver. A lot of support here, lots of cheers in the town centre last night as he went into that first stage in Dunoon Town Centre. Thank you again for shared memory stories of Di. I've got a couple more to share with you a little bit later. Pick some of the ones that resonated with me, some of the ones that particularly made me smile. The driver there has been going incredibly well. Ian Forgan, Chris Lees alongside. Came into this stage 15th overall, 11th in the hotly contested Class 1. If you haven't seen any of the special rally stories features that we've been doing on Special Stage, you'll particularly love the Mike Broad and Phil Collins ones. I mean, some of the stories in there are absolutely wonderful. Did you ever share that AI-generated cartoon of Phil Collins, Wayne? You did. I missed that. Yeah, I mean, we went from the work stays in the Mr. Tonkinson Carpets Pink Sierra to Monkeys in Marrakesh, was it? And it was quite some journey that Phil Collins took us through. But do check them out. They're at specialstage.tv, along with all of the coverage of UK and European rally that we do here at Special Stage. Jake Biggs, Harry Walshaw alongside the Yorkshire pair. Really wanted this yesterday. Jake had a big grin on his face going into the first 2 stages. Came into this one, what was he, 22nd overall, second in classes 6 and 7. The class currently being led by Nathan Evans and Rhys Edwards. They were a fair way up the road from them, but a great performance nevertheless. Actually not too far up the road, actually, to be fair. To remind you then, the man on the move is Jason Pritchard. Phil Clark alongside in the North Road Garage Yaris Rally 2. He took the fastest time through this stage, the second fastest time of the day for the Welsh Toyota driver. Certainly puts him in a chasing position for that second place, where Rory Young and Jamie Edwards have had it pretty much all their own way so far. Not so much anymore. Max Murray has been enjoying himself this weekend, I think it's fair to say, in that
horrible, isn't it?
Manx registered DS3. Just looking for his position coming into this. They were third in Class 3, 25th overall, weren't they? Max Murray, Matty Owen. As we said earlier, as he said actually to me in service, really getting used to that car now. And compared to the C2, he says it's basically like a bigger C2. It handles a bit better. It's easy to work on. So much room in the engine bay compared to the little Citroen that he had before. But he got some stonking results in the C2, and he's starting to get that way on in the DS3 now as well. One of a couple of Manx drivers joining us here this weekend. Josh Evans, Paddy Heffernan, coming here 27th overall, 4th in Class 3 behind Max Murray and Matty Owen. So 10 seconds the gap in the class. If he wants a podium position, he's going to have to push over the next 3 stages is Josh. It's not out of the question. The other Clio, by the way, Clio R3T, Justin Gunning and Mike Motes last night, that had that horrendous accident on stage 3. Pleased to report that, in inverted commas, the crew are okay. They were airlifted to hospital, and they're doing okay. There are some injuries for the co-driver, but very lucky to escape from that one relatively unscathed. But we do wish you well in your recovery, particularly Michael Howard, the co-driver, who will be recovering from those injuries in hospital. That Civic has been going ever so well. Andrew Forbes, Alex Hill came into this in a podium position in the class, behind Jake Briggs and Harry Walshaw. They were, what, 19 seconds behind in third place. So a podium position so far for them, just outside the top 20 as well. A good performance in that Civic, which has done a bit of work over the last season or so. It was the Spey side that he rolled the car on. There was a few telltale dents in the roof, which we were pretty sure he didn't get from Dunoon Town Centre last night, because we would have known. Gutted for Dave Robertson, Jenny Robertson in the Fiesta, by the way, hearing that they've finally retired the car after doing their very best to retire it from the very stage of the night. But they kept it going into today, but they have called it a day on stage 10. Alan Scott, Shayna Archibald have had a good day as well so far today. Second in the class, chasing Luke Constantine, Ivan Divine down. How far is the gap? 3 seconds. It's close actually in Class 8, so not for the championship. Luke Constantine in the Opel Adam R2 is registered for points. Alan Scott is not, but you will see a big push, I think, for the overall rally honours in that class. Yet to see the Constantine Opel Adam R2 through. Been repaired after the, should we call it an indiscretion on the Jim Clark. Compared to a very high standard as well. Here's Stuart and Mark Irvine in the Hyundai. Using all of the road through here. Looking forward to seeing them bringing the X-Works Hyundai Accent WRC car back out. A car driven by Armin Schwartz, Alistair McRae, and I'm trying to think who else drove that car. We were talking about it yesterday, but we are going to see that Hyundai Accent back out, which is great news, isn't it? Sam Touzle, Max Freeman still lead the way then, overall in the rally and in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. It has been a dominant performance from them coming into this, and saying from the off, they really wanted it. Hello to Brian Grant. How good would it be to get the top Irish boys over there doing the Scottish stages up against the Scottish boys? Well, it ain't happening this weekend, is it? Small matter of the Donegal rally. Getting in the way there is just the Alistair Waite and Kevin McIver through in their Mark II. Rob Fagg, who sadly retired on the first run through this stage in Stage 8 with Hugh Hunter, is commending the performance from the young guns, Luke Constantine and Ivan Devine. Agreed with that. Welsh Audi is watching from Bangor Hospital. Nothing too serious. Enjoying the coverage. Helen Pritchard watching from Bilth Wells. No clue, no guesses as to who you're cheering on, Helen. And they're on a charge, aren't they? James Armour watching from the Coiler Inn. Keeping an eye out for your cars. Not quite sure what that means. A little bit too cryptic for me, but perhaps it's just a little late in the weekend and a little delirious. Here is the Opel Adam R2. Luke Constantine, Ivan Devine leading the class, and will leave with maximum points towards their championship campaign if things continue as they are. Scott Blythe, you will see Team Avenger, two Team Avengers, I think they're still both running, very shortly on this stage. Daniel Palmer cheering on Baz Wheeler, and Richard Wise in the escort in the Fuchs British Historic Rally Championship, which joins us here, as well as the Asset Alliance Scottish Rally Championship. Hello to Richard Armand, who's joined us. Ocean Evans, Welsh Rally Boyo, he says. That'll be me tomorrow in the Rally Brotavy. Looking forward to that. Not looking forward to having to sleep in the car overnight on the way there, though. But thanks to Paul Wakely for, I would say, agreeing to drive me overnight, but it was pretty much his idea. He and Chris Richmond hand-plotted behind my back. And, I didn't really have a lot of choice, so delighted to be doing that. Carl and Rob Tour have been pushing hard in that Astra today. 5th in the class. And 31st overall. They've got Bryn Jones, Brian Jones breathing down their necks, talking of Welsh road rallies, in the Welsh Road Rally Mark II, which won the best presented car, as presented here in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship by our championship scrutineer, Jeff Doe, yesterday, and rightly so. It's a beautiful thing. But always good to see road rally cars doing the business as well, isn't it? Alistair Waite, Kevin McIver just a little bit further up the road in that class. 30 seconds, is it? No, 20 seconds up the road. But the Tours putting in a solid performance here on these Scottish lanes. There is the lovely looking Mark II. Spends most of its time, as does Bryn, in the Welsh lanes at night. Was really looking forward to those night stages last night, as I put to him. Road rally drivers do it in the dark, with the lights off. A great looking car, and a decent performance as well from the Welshman this weekend. We should, any time now, be getting the thumping soundtrack of that Vauxhall Forenza. By the way, there is a fact about Vauxhall in rallying, or Opel in rallying, that you may not know. I didn't know it, and I'm a massive rally nerd, and we've got a very special feature that we filmed part of today, with Tony Mason, believe it or not. All will be revealed, coming out on special stage next week some point, all right? And I reckon a lot of you won't have even known this was happening. I'm not going to give any more away than that, but it is a fascinating story, and we've delved into the archives for it. As Baz Jordan has done. Baz Jordan's delved into the archives, the 90s archives, or the 80s archives actually, to be exact, in that glorious Group A early model Galant VR4. It is such a stunning machine. I put some photos on my Facebook profile page earlier. Some really detailed, nerdy photos, actually, of things that you wouldn't normally photograph. But Baz was all for it, of the car. And it's a fabulous looking thing. And it just sounds amazing, doesn't it? We are hoping there will be a Group A resurgence. There surely will, Baz. doing the business in the British Historics, leading the class, leading the Historics at this point in the H12 class. 39th overall, with Argyll Jenkins alongside in that works spec. Beautifully detailed Gallant. That was a spirited line, wasn't it, from Andrew Blackwood? Lisa Watson probably reached for the imaginary brake pedal there. Came throwing that Fiesta over the crest here. Leading their class, which you would expect with spirited driving like that on these lanes. Class 9, currently being led by that Fiesta ST. Three more stages to go after this Kilfinane stage, then Millhouse up next, a 3.95 mile test, then it's Glenda Rule, 5.16 miles, and then Whistlefield finishes us off at a 3.3 mile blast, and then it's to the finish at the Dunoon Stadium to celebrate an overall victory. But will it be an overall victory for Sam Toozle and Max Freeman? They've been waiting for this for a long time, but they've still got some way to go. We've got times coming in from the next stages, and I will update you on those in just a minute. John Rintoul and Ross Hind in that Castrol Mark II certainly stole the show when they arrived in the service yesterday. It is a beautiful bit of kit, switching from the Citroen R5 car to that Mark II, taking a similar approach to David Henderson, as I mentioned earlier. 5th in H8 so far on the car's debut. It's just over-fueling a little bit for the Tom Centre stages yesterday. But he was sure it would clear its throat once they got onto the road section on the way to stage 3, and indeed, we believe that it did. Got the Russell Brooks Monte Carlo arched escort of Lee Ashbury to look forward to. The Firenze that I mentioned. We've got that glorious European historic spec M3 as well of John Marshall. Stay tuned for those and some more memories of Di Roberts as well, all coming up shortly on this live show from special stage of the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship. This is the Dunoon presents Argyll Rally. As you see, Chris Thompson and Mark Mason on your screens. 5th in Class 3, 37th overall, coming into this 13th stage of the day. 13th stage of the rally, I should say. 6th stage of today. 16 stages in total, 66 stage miles. 43 of those on leg 2 today. The wind picking up. The weather doesn't seem to know what it wants to do today, but it's still nowhere near Scottish weather that we're used to, or Yorkshire weather, to be honest, where I'm going back to Welsh weather. I think it's going to rain in West Wales tomorrow, which will be interesting on the Targa. But it's been blisteringly hot on the build-up, and yesterday was very hot and uncomfortable for the drivers. Lovely for us. Today, the wind keeps picking up. We get a little spot of rain or two, then the clouds clear, we get blue sky and bright sunshine. There's Oliver Waggett, enjoying his 18th birthday in his 2nd year of senior rallying, having stepped up from the Scottish juniors. Chris Pattinson alongside. They were 6th in the class, coming into the stage in their supercharged Mini Cooper S Mini Rally Challenge car. Had a fantastic adventure with spot developments in those supercharged minis so far. 2 runs at Cadwell, they haven't ended that brilliantly. One was my fault, one wasn't. But they're fabulous little cars, and hearing that supercharger wailing away at the front of the car makes me want to get back in. I have my road rally one, which is a lot of fun. Do check out the Mini Rally Challenge. It is one of the best single make series we've seen for a long time, akin to the Tour of Bike Challenge and the Nissan Micro Challenge back in the day, I have to say. Nick Kitchen, Josh Carr there in the lovely Cossack liveried Mark II. And the more nerdy among you will realise it's the earlier Cossack livery as well. The plain white Cossack branding against the red, compared to the later with the black detailing as well. I've still got a can of Cossack. I say still, I didn't have it in the first place. It's from 1976 or something, from the Cossack Rally, which ran in Beverley town. Dad was that rally, and Roger Clark was there giving away Cossack goodies. My dad's still got a Cossack holdall, which he won't relinquish. I try every time I'm at my parents', but for now I've got a little can of Cossack in the garage. I don't know if it even works. It'll make me lose all my hair if I put it on now. It's a great little rally souvenir. Don't those arches look wild? That thing must have looked like a spaceship when they brought it out back in the day, doing the Manx back in the late 70s with the Monty arched Escort. Must have just... There's so many historic videos of that, and it's great that Lee Ashbury brings that significant car out onto the lanes and does show it off for us. Drives it in anger as well. Done a good job this weekend in H8. Lots of competition around him. 4th in the class. Coming into this 13th stage of the day. Trying to listen for what I can hear coming into view next. It's not the Forenza, is it? But we're still waiting for Keith Robertson and Ian Nicol in the Vauxhall Forenza. You watch, it'll be the Forenza now, said that. No, it's not. It's the M3. Of course it is. Listen. Flames throwing out the side of that side exit exhaust just in front of the rear near side wheel. That is some machine. I put a photo on Facebook earlier and I said photos you can hear. A picture of that side exit exhaust, you can definitely hear it here. The one thing we can't bring you, we can bring you the sights, the sounds, if you turn your volume up loud enough. But we can't bring you the... We can bring you the atmosphere every now and again, can't we? But we can't bring you the smell. And the smell of hot brakes and clutch coming through here right now is awesome. Just wish we could take 40 years off and smell Castrol as well. There was a bottle of Castrol that went on eBay the other day, unopened. Went for something like 270 quid. You wouldn't dare open it, would you? Look at that. The car just ducking and diving on the brakes and through this compression here. I absolutely love that car. I saw it first time a couple of years ago on the Jim Clark. It pulled up into Dunstown Centre ahead of the start. And, I was late for doing a camera piece because I saw it in the distance and I had to go and check it out. It was like brand new on that particular event, but what a glorious looking car. But yeah, back to this Castrol bottle. Who would be mad enough to spend 270 quid on a bottle of Castrol that couldn't open it? I'd use it as aftershave. Mind you, Wayne, if you've got a Sebastian Loeb fuel sample in your collection, which definitely won't have any fuel left in it now.
Sealed.
He kids himself that it's sealed, but you know, I just don't think so. I feel like opening it one day just to check for him, seal it back up. But I bet he didn't pay 270 quid for it.
No.
How much did he pay for it? 5 or something, knowing Wayne. Peter O'Neill, Elida Williamson. For the memory of Di Robertson. This is from Owain Thomas, who was Di's mechanical close friend. So he said, I had adventures with Di on many rallies, including the Manx that's just been. Di, of course, was driving his 205 GTI on the Manx. Di has many contacts on the island, and as usual, we get lent a car by a very nice man, Kieran McCanny. This year, it was a beautiful dark green 205 GTDI. So, recce day comes, Di goes out, and I get a phone call towards the end of the day. We've lost the brakes on the Green Goddess. Yes, it's flat to the floor. Okay, I'll have a look. He comes back in, and as I guessed, the brake pipe was blown. So we managed to get hold of a brake pipe and unions and a flaring tool, but I can't get it until the morning. That's fine. This car is also our runaround back to the hotel. So back to the hotel we go, taking it easy now. There's no brakes. I've done most of the stages with no brakes. Don't worry. Okay, boy. Off we go. 4 in the car. Me, Ricky, Potts, and Di. Not one of us under 15 stone. First junction, brakes. No, handbrake. Snap. You can imagine, can't you? And there's a bit of language there I can't read out on air. We all look to our right as a car locked up with a slightly white-looking lady going towards us. Di's quick thinking, floor it. Phew, that was close. We all laughed, taking the mick that the others were scared. We all pooped ourselves, by the way. That's a nice way of putting it. Then the realisation that we're going downhill. Di gets a few pumps to the brakes and we managed to just about get the stop to break it back. So there's a story of Di recently on the Manx in a recce car with no brakes and a proper Welsh boys adventure out on those Manx lanes. Thank you for sharing that with me, Owain. And again, thank you to everyone who shared memories of Di Roberts with us this weekend. Hopefully a few that will make his friends and family smile, laugh, chuckle, and make Louise and the kids beam with pride, which won't be hard given the outpouring of affection we've seen for a man who was loved by so many in the sport and beyond it. Luke Collins, Mark Broadbent in the Civic there, coming to this stage, 5th in Class 8. And they are chasing down Tommy Graham and Mark Pickering. And I say chasing down, there is just 2 seconds in it after 12 stages of fierce competition. So that is going to be one to watch. Class 8 battle. We saw Stephen Hall, Aggie Foster, by the way, while I was reading that. Memory of Di Roberts from Owain Thomas out there. Coming into this, leading the historic rally car register cruise, and in that battle with the minis as well. I took a picture on seafront in Dunoon last night, all the minis lined up. I don't think I've ever seen so many historic minis starting a national rally. Absolutely fabulous. There's Sandy Arbuthnott, Ian Arbuthnott alongside 8th place in classes 6 and 7 coming into this. Paul Collins, Thomas Wilson a little way up the road ahead of them, and they've got a fairly comfortable gap behind as well. The next competitors in that class, Watty Warwick and Darryl Clark, are not going to worry them on stage times alone this weekend. Talking of stage times, I should probably check the stages that follow this one, shouldn't I? So, stage 14, to remind you, is Millhouse, 3.95 mile stage that follows this one. And at the moment, Sam Toozle, Max Freeman have the fastest time, but only 3 times in for that. A 3 minute 5 from Sam and Max. A 3:08 from Rory Young, Jamie Edwards, second fastest so far. And a 3:17 from Mark McCulloch and Michael Hendry. We do expect Jason Pritchard to drop into those times. And give us something to think about once their time drops in, and I'll update you as soon as it does. You can check the results yourself live at rallies.info as well. Paul Collins, Thomas Wilson were going well when they threw there. Still got the glory of those minis. We have lost Shane Gamble and Julia Perry, unfortunately. They retired with engine issues earlier today. But they absolutely love their Scottish adventure here on the Dunoon Presents Argyll Rally, that is for sure. Tommy Graham, Mark Pickering in that glorious Mark 1. It's a Class 8 battle for them, but Peter O'Neill and Ida Williamson are a little bit further up the road, so it's not going to be much of a battle for them at this stage. Again, another couple who are in that Class 8 battle. They've got to keep an eye on them in their rearview mirrors, metaphorically speaking, because that's the car ahead of Luke Collins and Mark Broadbent in that Civic that we saw through there. Put my teeth back in. So let's have a look back at those times for stage 14. Pritchard then 5th fastest, dropping a bit of time through 14. Interestingly, as you see, Mark Booth and Chris Wareham. And then Mark II, 4th in Class 6 and 7. And just 2 seconds ahead of Alistair Waite and Kevin McIver as well. So that battle in Class 6 and 7 is looking good as well. Bit of a gap ahead of them to Andrew Forbes and Alex Hill in the FN2 Civic, which is a little way down the road though. So Pritchard just dropping off the pace a little bit coming through the 14th stage. 2 more to make it count. It's probably too much to ask at this stage. I'm just looking to see who's fourth. It's Mark McCulloch and Michael Hendry, 4th fastest. Again, they've been very consistent today. 5 fifth fastest times and 2 fourth fastest stage times today. Where does that leave them overall, you may be wondering? Sorry, I'm just radio silence while I just figure out what I'm doing with the results here. So I managed to muddle the results up in some weird order. I don't know I did that. I don't think I'll be able to do it again. So Toozle and Freeman now, after stage 14 with 2 to go, have a 41-second lead. Sam will be listening for every noise in that car, and no doubt PB Engineering will be glued to the results in the service area. Fingers crossed at the Dunoon Stadium that that car, that pink Jersey Rally 2 Fiesta, will be coming home for its first outright win off the rock. Rory Young, Jamie Edwards, the crew in that chasing position. And Jason Pritchard, Phil Clark have dropped back over the 14th stage. They're currently down in 4th. They were in that podium position. That drops them down as well into the last podium position in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship Cruise. Hugh Brunton, Richard Wardle now dropping into 2nd. 3rd overall in the rally, 2nd in the Championship Cruise. 37 back from Rory Young, Jamie Edwards, who fairly safe. Rianne's been doing well in that MG3. He was very excited to be in the car last night in Dunoon, and it's a nicely prepped bit of kit. He said it felt like a bit of a big car to be chucking round the town centre in Dunoon. Well, Rianne, there were plenty of cars bigger than yours to be chucked around, and you certainly did a good job of it last night. Yeah, so Jason Pritchard, Phil Clark clearly got some issue, I would say, there, because that's a big bit of pace to have dropped, and confidence was high. The setup on the car looked good through this stage, didn't it? Taking a stage win through 13. And there's the car which we spent a bit of time watching that car get pulled out by BTRDA earlier on in stage 8. Charlie Knight, Lawrence Knight in the Swift 1300. I'm sure the Hooper Sport team will be delighted to see that their efforts were worthwhile and the car's still running. The crew had put the car off just on the free right coming down here into this downhill section into the compression. Just managed to get it stopped, and it didn't go too far off the road, but it was just a little bit too far to get back under its own steam, so it required a tow rope and some spectator power. McDonald almost requiring some spectator power of his own, actually kicking the dust up on the edge of the stage on that very corner we were just talking about there as well. And the weather is doing its thing again. It is now pretty tropical. The wind's picking up again like that, so we'll probably get clouds and a bit of rain as well, and then the midges will come back for a bit. I'll spend a very uncomfortable day in a road rally car on the Protyre Targa tomorrow, covered in midge bites, I think. I'm just going to get one of those all-in-one suits that people wear to parties next time, just cut my eye holes out. Wayne's imagining it. Yeah, right. Special stage branded. Dan Elmore, rallying his life, would be able to do me a branded all-in-one suit. I was going to call it something else though. Christopher Smith, Amy McCubbin, recovering from their brake issues that they had through the first couple of stages last night to be 5th in the class, 49th overall, chasing Bobby McDonald down. And I tell you what have they got? 19 seconds to make up if they want to get themselves into 4th in the class. Likewise, Bobby McDonald would quite like to move up into the podium positions, but that is not going to happen over the next couple of stages because Brett McKenzie, Barry Young in the Evo 8 are way further up the road. They're pretty much uncatchable at this stage. Next up then, in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, we've got another away day weekend, and we head to Northern Ireland for the Down Rally, and really looking forward to that one. I went for my first Northern Irish Rally experience, first Irish Rally experience at all actually, in person, 2 years ago on the Down Rally, and it was an epic event. So I'm looking forward to that, and we will bring you, of course, live coverage from that round as well. Not the biggest of showings for the championship crews here in Scotland, but we've got well over 20 crews already entered for the Northern Irish round of the championship, so I'm looking forward to that. Should be a good battle on pretty iconic Irish lanes. Craig King, Russell Joseph there in the historic Mini, one of the HRCR Mini Challenge cars. Second in that battle at the moment, 56th overall. And Shane Gamble reporting to me last night that it was pretty bumpy on the recce, and they were a little bit worried about how the Minis would go. And indeed, a couple of the Rally 2 drivers have reported seeing the Minis bouncing around on the way to the scrutineering. They were even described as heroic. Well, any Mini out on the stage is heroic, isn't it? Anthony Jevons, Mags Kelly then in the Fiesta R2. Good job from them this weekend. It'll be a good haul of points towards their championship campaign. 6th in the class on the overall rally results at this point. And that hotly contested Class A. Luke Collins just ahead though in the Civic. They'll be stealing some valuable championship points from the Fiesta R2 pair. And that is, of course, the class that is currently being convincingly led by Luke Constantine and Ivan Devine in the Opel Adam R2. So it'll be them, Luke Collins and Ant Jevons, top 3 championship crews in the class. Wassy Warwick, Darrell Clark there. Just rounding out the top 10 in classes 6 and 7 this weekend. In that 206 GTI, the Gran Turismo version with the longer extended bumpers to allow the 206 World Rally Car to be homologated. I mentioned that in the town centre last night. Right, Pritchard has had an off. This is why we've got a dropped time from him. He's been off the road, thank you to Craig Smith. He's gone through a fence on stage 14. The car's missing its bumper, and it's got some damage to the underside, so that's quite a dramatic turning point. Will it be a turning point as far as the championship is concerned? Came here leading the championship, Jason Pritchard, our 3-time Asphalt champ. Sam Touzle came here 3rd in the championship, equal on points with Neil Roskell, who of course is over in Donegal. So an opportunity for Touzle from that point of view, and it should also just ease a bit of pressure for Pritchard, as long as he can get it to the end and just do a bit of a damage limitation exercise at this point, but he'll be gutted. Got a fairly well-earned reputation for being a very successful driver and keeping the cars in immaculate condition. Doesn't tend to make many mistakes, but he's still getting used to that Yaris, and perhaps you might argue, he probably would, that he's pushing that car too hard into his journey with it. Had the car sat in the showroom in North Road Garage in Bilth Wells for the best part of a year, didn't he, before he could actually get it registered and get it out to be used for the first time on the East Riding stages for the first round of the championship this year. But pushing it hard and not being quite used to it, perhaps leading to that mistake. So okay, so the tracker has him, oh God, he took out 100 meters of fence as well, according to the radio crew. And the tracker shows him still at the stop line in that Yaris Rally 2, so that could be a fairly decisive moment for Pritchard's rally, certainly, perhaps even for the championship as well. Sam Toosler out ahead. Keep an eye on that tracker, or as I say that, Craig Smith will keep an eye on the tracker for me, won't you, Craig? And let me know if there's any developments there. Mike Grant done a good job on the lanes this weekend. Yep, Elwyn Pritchard got the type of all-in-one suit I was referring to. I definitely won't be wearing one of those though, Elwyn. Wayne would not let me wear one of those. Lloyd Evans wants to know how many words I speak during a day's transmission. My jaw must ache by the end of the day. It does, but do you know what? I'm on a mission today because I need to sleep in the car on the 9.5-hour journey back to West Wales from the Scottish Peninsula. So I need to sleep overnight tonight because I'm literally going to arrive back at DC Motorsport and jump in that Puma and do the rally. So I need to sleep. So I'm on a mission to absolutely burn myself out today so I can sleep in the car. Elwyn Pritchard says offside wheel. No, it was a near side because it was a left-hand drive car. Don't be giving me any of that. Ocean Evans. I don't know what you're asking me there, actually, so I'm not going to read that one out. David Parry. Wales overnight, no problem. I'm only a young one. I can do it. Yeah. I'm not going to feel very young by the end of tomorrow night, am I? Is it really bad that now that I've realised that's the Peugeot 205 that I overtook at Abingdon in the micro kit car, I want to mention that every time I see it? Poor Paul. To be fair, it was him who pointed it out into noon last night. I hadn't actually made the connection. Should be more observant than that, shouldn't I? But going well today in the little 205, and it looks awesome as well in that Peugeot Talbot Sport livery, doesn't it? Look, going back to Lloyd Evans' question about how many words I speak during the live shows that we do here on Special Stage, probably too many if you ask some of our viewers. But then I watched some rally coverage earlier that was just cars. Didn't see much point in that. John Kerr says you can sleep in your car, Paul Woodford, but you can't rally your house. You see, that is what I keep saying to my wife, just to justify all these rally adventures. David McLeod, Eamon Boyle, still out there doing it for the Roots Group in that glorious-looking Hillman Avenger. Really is a good-looking little car, that as well, isn't it? But yeah, you definitely can sleep in your car, but I won't be sleeping in my car. I'll be sleeping in, well, it's not even Paul Wakely's car, it's Jamie Tuke's car, isn't it? I'm sleeping in the Spencer Sport Pram on the way back to Wales. Steve Ransley's watching by the pool in Crete. That sounds awesome, actually. Quite like to be by, even Wayne's nodding, and he's not really a by the pool type of guy. John Kerr says the Minis are good through the Otterburn ranges. Don't see them through the Otterburn ranges that often now, do we, unfortunately, due to the military commitments. Andrew O'Hanlon then, in our remaining Protyre registered historic Mini. He was very entertaining through there, wasn't he? Actually on the limiter through that compression there. Doug Riddle's watching from Dublin Airport. Watching whilst waiting on their delayed flight. Well, I'll tell you what, that is one way to entertain the plane. I've got a funny story for you. Rally Barbados last year, on the way back, and I was sat with Kev Proctor's lads, and they reminded me of this story this year. Wayne, you'll like this one. There was a bit of a mix-up over seats, and there was a lady who got sat next to me, and she asked me, she made the mistake of asking me about Rally Barbados, and she seemed interested, so I basically told her everything I knew about rally cars in the next 10-15 minutes. She actually asked to be moved, much to the delight of Proctor's lads, who were in absolute stitches that this woman had actually asked to be moved to a different plane seat, having fought to get the one that she was in, because I basically talked about rally cars non-stop for 10 minutes, and she realised that it was going to be a very painful 8 hours on the plane, so it was quite embarrassing, actually. But I'd had a few gins and tonics, so I wasn't too bothered at the time, but to be reminded of that on the plane on the way back from Rally Barbados this year was funny. Adrian Stewart, Cameron Stout, following Andrew O'Hanlon and Kevin Hogan through the stage. Andrew O'Hanlon registered for Class 9 because he's in the Protyre Championship. One of a number of historic minis out because of the HRCR, the Historic Rally Car Register Mini Cup, which is a lot of fun, I've got to say. My dad used to hill climb a Mark III Mini Cooper S, and I loved that car. You could rock it when it was sat on its wheels. It had such stiff spac suspension, you could actually rock the thing off one of its wheels onto 3 wheels. Not that I did that, Dad. I didn't do that when I went in the game. It was my party trick. Oh, I tell you what. Lachlan McIver, Laurie McIver, who put that car off, didn't they? Was it that? That was the car that went off the stage, wasn't it, near us on the last run through the stage near Phil? Nearly put it off near us there, didn't they? Steve Ramsey has said it's his first ever shout out on a special stage live show. It only took being in Crete to do that. Look, mate, if we knew it meant that much to you, we'd have given you one before now, but fair play for going to all those lengths to get a shout out on the show. It also means you're in the draw to win one of our Rallying is Life RAC Rally hats. Andy Bright is watching from his granddaughter's birthday party on Anglesey. Oh, you're going to be popular, aren't you? What are you doing? Say again.
YouTube ones.
You want me to comment on it? You want me to look at the YouTube stream? It's hard. Wayne's telling me off for just looking at the Facebook stream. I should be looking at the YouTube one. I'm basically, well, I'm not juggling that much, but I've got the microphone in my hand and my notes and stuff. So, okay. John Smith says, "Did you enjoy the midges when you visited Scott?" Oh, they're having a conversation amongst themselves, Wayne. They don't need me on here. James Lightfoot's got his fingers crossed. That was Davey Robertson, was it not? Yeah. The locals here delighted because they thought he retired altogether, but there they go. David and Jenny Robertson make it through stage 13, much to the delight of the local fans. Paul and Liz said, "Good afternoon from Lancaster, enjoying the coverage." Yeah, James Lightfoot, sorry, I didn't finish that one off today. Fingers crossed for Sam, Max and PB Engineering from James and Ula Lightfoot. Yeah, PB Engineering have had 3 cars out and at one point had 2 cars in the podium positions, didn't they, with you and Rob as well. Unfortunately, that wasn't to be, but great job from the team on getting Sam Toozle up to speed. And I have to mention our reigning Asphalt champion, our 2-time reigning Asphalt champion as well, Callum Black, who has done a lot of work in the build-up to this rally with Sam. Has been very sporting in helping his fellow competitor just get his head around the notes and the lanes, because Sam only did the first 2 stages last year. Withdrawing the car, wasn't comfortable with the relationship he and Aaron Nicoll had in the car last year. No one at fault, just wasn't comfortable to push. That's a very smoky Peugeot 205 from Stephen Black and Ian McRae, just nursing that car to the end now, just outside the top 10 in the class. Right, so Pritchard is on the move, crucially. Thank you to Craig Smith for keeping me updated watching the tracker. Charlie Master says, "Is there a stream for the finish, for the ceremony?" No, we're not. I don't think we're going to be live, Wayne, for that one, but we will be filming the finish when we arrive. We're hot-footing it there after this stage finishes, so stay tuned to the championship social media pages, because we will share the celebrations, and it will be particularly what's the word? Flamboyant, I think is the word, if Sam Toozle does win this T4 and Elizabeth Beasley on a rare outing on asphalt for them. They didn't do the recce before this either, so we're doing the stages based on the DVD and the notes that you get in advance, and they've done a good job this weekend in the Escort, all told. So yeah, no live stream from the finish, but we will record and upload the reaction and the celebrations, because I'm looking forward to seeing that. I mean, I love watching the reactions anyway, but Sam winning his first rally here is going to be pretty emotional if he can get it to the finish. I don't want to put any presenters curse on anyone here. John Smith says, "What would rallying be like without the old Escorts?" Nothing beats all the Escorts. I said, well, actually, if you watch European rallying, you get a bit of a flavour of what it would be like. Take nothing away from the Escorts. We love them. They are our bread and butter, but there are some fantastic cars out competing in Europe, and we quite like a few of those over here as well for a bit of variety. But Yeah, you're right. They are the backbone of British rallying, aren't they? Yeah, you guys on YouTube are having a whale of a time just having your own conversations. So I'm going to go back onto specialstage.tv and watch effectively the Facebook comments. But yeah, seriously, thank you for joining us this weekend. This was always going to be a bit of a tough one, the first rally since the tragic events on the Jim Clark. And we were all thinking about Di Roberts, and we were all indeed thinking of James Williams as well. In fact, Steve Wood as well, our former champion here in the Asphalt Championship, had a huge accident over in Ireland. Was it over in Ireland? Was it with us, wasn't it? Sorry, it wasn't. Yeah, Gary Jennings I'm thinking of in Ireland, but Steve Wood had an accident on Jim Clark as well that sort of didn't really get a lot of mentions. He's recovering with some quite serious injuries as well. So we're thinking about our recovering drivers this weekend. It was always going to be a tough one, but we wanted to make sure we did it properly, and I think you will hear in the celebrations later from Sam some real emotion, because he was quite emotional at the start of this rally in Dunoon as well. So that's it from us here on the Dunoon Presents Argyll Rally. We reached the midpoint in the Protyre Motorsport UK Asphalt Rally Championship, and we have, as we go into the final stage of the day, perhaps a new winner we will see in just a few moments' time, and we will share the celebrations from the finish either way. And we certainly have a shake-up in the championship standings. Thank you for joining us. Next time out in this exciting championship, we will be over in Northern Ireland for the Down Rally. But for now, from Scotland, it's goodbye, and I'll see you in West Wales tomorrow if you're doing the Protyre Rally.